Some of them are so tiny. Hi guys, Rachel here with my summer wrap up part 2. I had meant to get around to this much sooner, but I was completely blindsided by something which I don't feel free to disclose as it involves a loved one. But I've been a mess. I haven't had the energy or aptitude for filming or even engaging in really anything. I haven't been sleeping well, eating well, and basically just been on the phone a lot the past couple of weeks and watching the same movie repeatedly. It's just become a comfort film for me somehow. And you can call me a weirdo. That's fine. I asked for it. But yeah, I have a lot of catching up to do. It's only within the past couple of days that I've slowly been catching up with you all. Anyway, let's try to get right into it. So, summer part 2, lots of work. I remember my daughter went away to her grandparents one weekend. My boyfriend and I had just sort of a date night, even though we had a lot of work to do that day, but we went out to one of our favorite Mexican restaurants, had some margaritas on the patio. It was really nice. Of course, we spent more time in Salem as we usually do between all the heavy work we had. I remember one rainy day, we had planned on spending the day just around town, taking our favorite walks, favorite shops, and we were planning on going to the beach afterwards, but we got rained out. So we ended up at the Hawthorne Hotel again for dinner, even though it wasn't in our plan or budget. But I remember we were walking around and I looked at my boyfriend and he had this face and I can read him so well. And he looked very sad. And I'm like, what is it, sweetie? I'm like, are you thinking about that chowder at the Hawthorne again? And he was like, yeah. So because we got rained out for our beach afternoon, we ended up at the tavern at the Hawthorne Hotel again. And we had some more chowder and some awesome Caesar salads, and that was fun. But the next day we ended up going back to Salem to go to the beach, and it was a beautiful beach day. I think it was one of the only days where my daughter and I actually swam, because it's been a weird summer. It's been extremely hot or very rainy. We get rained out of our plans. But that was a great beach day. Found some beautiful sea glass. Just had a blast listening to Brahms, I don't know, while I was watching the hermit crabs, and then we went over to the Willows and we had dinner at one of our favorite seafood places there. And I was very sad to discover that one of my very favorite trees in Salem was no more. And I almost didn't notice it at first because there were so many people at the Clam Shack. That's where we went to eat. But there was this seagull which drew my attention to it. There was this seagull standing on this giant pile of wood chips. And I was like, what are these wood chips? And it was coned off. And then I went, oh my God, it's my tree. And I was like, how did I not notice that my tree isn't there anymore? Probably because there's so many other beautiful trees at the park there. And I was so sad, you guys. You know how much I love trees. But I will say, one of the things I love the most about Salem is the way that they live around the trees. There's no such thing as just cutting something down because it's in the way. They do their utmost for the preservation of those trees. And especially in the Willows, I remember a few years ago, there was this rumor going around because there was all this you know, construction equipment and stuff in the park, and the ground was dug up, and someone's like, oh, they're developing it, they're going to put up condos, you know, like they do everywhere. And we were like, oh, no, 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 no. And we found out that that wasn't true. They were actually, it actually invested quite a sum in this, like, you know, irrigation project to better the life of the trees at the Willows, which I think is amazing. So this tree was no more, and I remembered one of the times we were there previously, my boyfriend had said this tree, it doesn't seem like it's in the best health, just this ancient beauty. And I rummaged through the pile of wood chips. I didn't care about the cones, and I was lucky enough to find like one decent sized chunk here of the bark, and I brought it home with me. And I swear, ever since I've had it home, I can't stop thinking about the tree. It's like, I don't want to say it's haunting me, but it's like its spirit is here, and it smells, it has this like burnt smell to it. And I like to think that it was struck by lightning. I don't know if it really was, but like I said, I know they wouldn't just cut down the tree for no reason. I like to think that it was struck by lightning, because a couple of years ago, my boyfriend and I actually got stuck in this huge lightning storm at the Willows. It was actually kind of scary. It was pretty cool, but it was insane. And I remembered I saw the lightning hit the street just yards in front of me. So I'd like to think that it was struck by lightning, because that's not such a bad way for such an ancient tree to go, right? Oh, just beautiful. And I'm sure I'll probably be inserting a photo of the tree. What else did we do? So there was the Salem Fusion Fest, which it was at the, sorry, I'm all like tongue-tied. We went to the Salem Fusion Fest in August, and that was a celebration of the Gables settlement program for immigrant communities, which has been in place there for over 100 years. And actually, I found this little blurb online on the Gables website, which I'll just read to you about the history, because I don't want to botch anything or get anything wrong. But Caroline Emerton, look her up, fascinating woman. She was a philanthropist and a preservationist who founded the present-day nonprofit as a museum and settlement house to assist immigrant families arriving in Salem. Inspired by Jane Addams Hull's house, she purchased the Turner Ingersoll Mansion, that's the house of the Seven Gables, in 1908, and worked with architect Joseph Everett Chandler to restore it to its perceived appearance from the 1600s. Emerton's goal was to preserve the house for future generations, provide educational opportunities for visitors, and use the proceeds from the tours to fund her settlement programs. So, yeah, look her up, Caroline Emerton. Just fascinating, and such a wonderful program. So the Fusion Fest was, as I said, a celebration of the settlement program. And we had some Venezuelan food from a food truck. It was amazing. And my daughter's like, oh, are there any more good Venezuelan restaurants in Boston? Because I really like this food, and I'd like to have this more often. And there were some Haitian dancers, beautiful, which unfortunately for my daughter, one of the men came up to our table and grabbed her and threw her on, not threw her, but he pulled her up onto the dance floor, and she was so embarrassed because she's just very shy. And I get it, my heart went out to her, so am I. But my boyfriend was nudging me. He's like, they should have pulled you up there. You would have shown everybody how to shake it. I'm like, I'm not so sure about that. I wish I could be as uninhibited as I used to be, but nowadays I need some sort of substance maybe to loosen up. Anyway, that was amazing. And we also decided to tour the House of the Seven Gables again, because with my membership, as I've mentioned, to the Isabella Stewart Gardner, I'm granted free access to many different small museums everywhere. And the House of the Seven Gables is part of that program. So we had toured the House of the Seven Gables a couple of years ago for my birthday. And I hadn't done that since I lived back in Buffalo and was just visiting Salem as more of a tourist. But every time you go to the Gables for a tour, depending on your guide, you're going to get a different tour, and it's just one of the best. So if you've never been to the House of the Seven Gables, I highly recommend the tour. And the grounds are beautiful as well. We hit up the gift shop just for fun, but we ended up with a couple of goodies. My daughter really wanted this this glass paperweight. It looks like a wave. We used to have a lot of things like this in my house growing up. Isn't that pretty? It wasn't too expensive, actually. I think it was like $20 or something. And I ended up with, it was a gift for all of us, this Will Moses Salem 1692 puzzle. Isn't that cool? We love puzzles, my daughter and I. So we're going to have fun with that when we get around to it. So anyway, that was great. I think we visited the beach later on that evening after the fest. I'm definitely going to look that up and make sure that we make it to the Fusion Fest again next year. It's just wonderful. My boyfriend went away a couple of times in August for work, and we just my daughter and I just sort of stayed in and put puzzles together. It's one of the things we did. We had some dance parties because she's a dancer and I'm trying to teach her some improv and stuff. And anyway, we had fun with that. And as I said, we put some puzzles together. We finished the Brontes puzzle, and then we went on to the King Arthur puzzle, which I'll try to remember to insert some photos of those as well. On another visit to Salem, we finally made it to the Ropes Mansion. My daughter had really been wanting to tour the Ropes Mansion and just any house in Salem that she could find her way into. And yeah, been there countless times, never been inside the Ropes Mansion. And most people know it for its appearance in the film Hocus Pocus. But I think it was just the facade that was used in the film. They didn't actually film inside of the house, but it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And I'm going to be inserting some photos of that, I am sure. And my daughter was just like, after we left, she's like, I want to live there. I want to live in that house. I want to live in the Ropes Mansion. And one of my favorite parts about touring the house was the gorgeous tree that's there. I believe it's a beech tree. Don't quote me on that. I'll try to look that up, and if I'm wrong, I will insert what it really is. But I'd never seen the tree from that vantage point inside of the house, and especially when we went upstairs. Oh my gosh. What an amazing being. I was really, really sad earlier this summer. I didn't mention this in any previous video, but we were in the gardens at the Ropes Mansion one day, and there was somebody, you could tell they were from out of town. And they felt really entitled. You could tell that they were just there because they liked the movie Hocus Pocus, right? And they were probably irritated that the house wasn't open for tours that day, or that it wasn't just like the movie. And this woman, I don't know, I think she was drunk or something. There's clearly a sign, a very respectful sign that's placed in front of the tree that says, please don't step over this line or carve the tree, as you will upset the root systems and the health of the tree. And we really, really care about this tree. And basically it says something like that. And she knew that. She was aware of that. And I heard this commotion. There were people yelling, and this woman was like, I don't effing care. What are you going to do about it? She was carving the tree. And it wasn't done out of ignorance. She knew full well. She read the sign, and that prompted her to do the opposite. And it just ruined the rest of my day. I remember sitting at dinner with my boyfriend and my daughter, and I was so glum. I was so downhearted. And they were like, what's up? What's wrong? And I'm like, the tree. I could barely even say it. It made me cry. But yeah, she'll get hers. I hope she'll get hers. But anyway, the tree is just amazing, and I'm sure I'll be inserting some photos of it. So yeah, what else? So we went to the MFA in August, the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, which you know I go there all the time, for the Dali exhibit. And oh my gosh, was that amazing. So I have to go back before it closes. I forget when it closes. I think it's December. It was amazing. I don't know as I've ever seen any Dali in person. I have a friend, actually, who has a Dali. It belonged to her mother. It's a sketch that he did, which is just incredible. So whenever I'm at her place, I enjoy visiting that. But the exhibit was amazing, and it also showcased some of the older masters that Dali drew inspiration from. So yeah, I will be inserting some photos from that exhibit as well. And we ended up with some things. It was really crowded. I think we visited on the day where everybody was coming in. All the students were coming in from out of town. You know, school was starting, college. As you know, Boston has like 1 million freaking colleges. So it was really busy, but that's fine. That's fine. So I ended up with some things from the exhibit. I got this little Taschen book, and hope I'm not going to show anything inappropriate, because there are there are some jewels in here. But I love these Taschen books, and this binding is really nice and seems really sturdy. But yeah, it's just it's a book that feels really good in the hands. And okay, what else? I got this Dali print here. I just love this. I love roses anyway. What is this called? The meditative rose. Yeah. So I have to decide where to put that, or I might put it here somewhere and, you know, switch something else out. And I also got this little pouch. Same thing, same painting, but inside of it, this was folded up. Isn't that cool? I love it. It's a little like shopping bag. I think that's all I got. Anyway, afterwards we went to one of our favorite little taquerias, little taco places in the city, which is very close to our office where we work. And we ate outside, and that was fun. Some of the best tacos ever. Anyway, and then we walked to Newbury Comics, and I got Miles Davis, this iconic live album, which is also now known as like the Evil Live, because on the back, Evil is basically live. Evil is live backwards. I think I just got all tongue-tied there, but isn't this amazing art? So I was really excited about that. And this was actually reasonably priced. I think this was only $30, and some of the new releases, LPs, which I would not even spend maybe $20 on, were like $50, so overpriced. I would have thought something like this would have been like $50, but no, this was reasonable. I was very excited about that. We went into Urban Outfitters, which is a place that I've shopped at over the years, but honestly, I just couldn't stand like any of. I'm so over the Y2K thing. I'm so over it. I'm not into it. Those were my high school years, and no, so what else? So my daughter had a late start to the school year, which was actually really nice. Really nice, because if it hadn't been for that, actually, we probably wouldn't have been able to make it to the Dolly exhibit, because that was like August 31st. Normally school would have been in session. Or maybe that was on a weekend and it didn't matter. I don't know. Guys, it doesn't, just don't pay any attention to me. But she started after Labor Day this year, which was really nice. And one of the other things that we did was we went to this event in Salem called the Witch City Kitty, which all these vendors come from actually all over the states, and they're cat lovers. So there were some kitties there, and basically it was a lot of people selling their things. And I don't have any of those things here to show you. My cat is wearing one of those items currently. We bought him a bow tie, and we got him some organic catnip toys from a vendor that I had, you know, bought things from her before. Every Thursday there's a farmer's market in Salem, and I've seen her there before, and we've gotten things. So got him some little toy. My daughter got some mosaic cat art for her bedroom, and she got some hoodie, a cat hoodie from a vendor from Philadelphia. And that was a lot of fun. It was held in the town hall there, the old town hall. What else? I guess I'll just show you some of the things that I got this summer. So what do I have? I have this beautiful serpentine sphere at one of the shops there in Salem. Isn't it pretty? We got this dragon. I don't know. We just couldn't resist it. My daughter said that it was for the cat. I don't know. And it just won my heart. And he's so soft. And we ended up with this whale. I don't know. But this whale its home has been our table where we eat and where we work when we're working from home. And this whale is always there. And sometimes we'll put the whale in weird spots. Like my boyfriend will put it looking down on me from the back of the laptop. And or sometimes my daughter will walk through and put it on my boyfriend's head or my head. Yeah, it's nice, right? It's nice. Okay, so you guys know, I think I mentioned in one of my videos, Mahler and Clam Chowder, I had bought this Moby Dick hat at the museum because there's the Moby Dick exhibit, and I got another hat, and this one says Anaconda of an Old Man, which is a quote from the book, and I wear this all the time. And I'm weird because I go through these phases, as I've told you, that I'll just feel like really, I have to go to a store. I don't want to run into anybody I know. I want to go in and out. I don't want anybody to see me. And yet I'm wearing this freaking thing. A hat, like a neon green hat that says Anaconda of an Old Man. Yet I'm trying not to attract attention. Like, what am I doing? But see, I see it this way. People are going to see this and they're just going to stay away. Just stay away. Stay away from me. I swear, I'm not always this antisocial, but what else did I get this summer? So I'll show you some books. So speaking of Moby Dick, I got this book at the museum there in Salem. It's Moby Dick as Philosophy. Plato, Melville, Nietzsche by Mark Anderson. So it's basically a book about the philosophy in the novel. So can't wait. I got, by my daughter's prompting, she wanted this book. I guess I have to determine whether or not she's ready to read this yet or not. But it's The Invention of Murder. She saw it in a little shop there in Salem, and I like to support mom and pops. It's How the Victorians Reveled in Death and Detection and Created Modern Crime by Judith Flanders. And Am I mistaken in thinking that this might have been on our list for Gothlit November as a nonfiction category choice? I think so. I should just ask Bailey. And also at that same shop, in the Peabody Sisters, 3 Women Who Ignited American Romanticism by Megan Marshall. And the bookseller there, she was like, both of those books are excellent choices. So I'm excited. Yeah. What else? One of my favorite shops there, the Hive and Forge. I got this little silk spread cloth, which was on sale. They sell vintage books there. I got The Candle of Vision by Anonymous. Beautiful copy, and I am so excited. I was so excited to find that. Also, another exciting find. They were having a sale, but all the demos were on sale. It's the Lioness Oracle, which is actually a tarot deck. And I was really excited because I had missed out on when they were selling it in the shop. But, I was thrilled. And like I said, it was in great condition and I got it for a really nice price. So that's exciting. And what else? I have been meaning for the longest time to do a book wrap-up video and I haven't gotten around to it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video at some point just covering all of the books that I've read since the last time I made a book video, which was like back in March. And it's not that many. But very briefly, I am still reading Moby Dick. I probably would have been finished with it by now, but like I said, I had that event happen to me. So reading has been very slow. And I'm taking notes for every single chapter, which also makes it more painstaking in a way. No, a very pleasurable way, but it just makes it take longer. And work's been very busy, but I am absolutely loving this. And I can't wait to reread it. When am I going to find time for that? And there was something else that I did read recently. I haven't been pairing this with anything else. Anything that I was already reading has been placed on the back burner, such as Mad Woman in the Attic. But there was something else I read recently alongside this very quickly. I don't remember what it was. But the one book I do remember was last week. I've already read this, so I reread Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness because Apocalypse Now, it's based on that. So I'd been meaning to reread this for some time and having I don't know, just, yeah. I loved it the first time. I really loved it for the second time. Maybe I'll talk about it more in depth in a book wrap-up video. But so my plan is to flip the camera around and show you the decks that I used this summer. Yeah, I planned on doing that and I never did. Okay, so the deck that I probably used the most was the Spiral, which I've mentioned at least once, maybe a couple of times in recent videos. So this is the second copy of this deck that I own. I picked this up this past spring in Salem, and it was a deck that I've mentioned I had a really hard time connecting with for a very long time. This was my first copy. It's currently in this little travel bag of mine, which I crocheted this little pouch for it ages ago. And this is on different cardstock. This is thicker and really interesting, and I think it's really great. It's another US Games. But I had trimmed it, and I trimmed it by hand. What do I mean by that? I mean, I trimmed it with scissors, and I even rounded the corners myself because I had purchased a corner rounder, and it was the wrong size. It was way too big. So I just went with scissors and just kind of curved it around the edge. And I think I did a pretty decent job, and I edged it. It's kind of wearing off a bit, but I never connected with it, probably because the time that I got it and was trimming it, I was going through an extremely difficult time. But now that I got this one and I bought it on a a beautiful, beautiful day in Salem that we spent this spring. Just exploring some historic grounds and graveyards and things. Through my determination, I was able to connect with it more. And yeah, this has been one of my go-to decks, actually, this spring and summer. And I recently bought the book, which is out of print, so it's on the pricey side. But I got it for not too expensive. Like, that depends on what you consider not too expensive. Like, it wasn't $100 or anything. But yeah, this is a really special deck. And I also wanted to back up because I kind of wanted an edition with the weird borders intact. And yeah, like, it's crazy. For example, I asked this deck a question, a specific question, which I don't tend to do too much these days. But I asked it if my ancestors had anything to tell me. And I drew this card, which is just incredible. If you take in the meaning of this particular, 10 of, pentacles here. Which, yeah, family heritage and things is a typical interpretation of, or one of the interpretations of the 10 of discs. But I won't dwell on this too much. Recently, Kaluna V, she did a great walkthrough of this deck, which I highly recommend. And I also really like the Celestial Tarot too. And I have I forget what it's called, the Ancient Feminine Wisdom, the Goddess deck. I have that too. I love Kay Stevenson. I worked with the Elemental Tarot, which I know I showed it in my tarot haul video or something. This deck is incredible. Just incredible. I've gotten some really profound messages from this, which really served me in times where I needed, during times where I needed support. And I love that it draws from Thunder, Perfect Mind. And as I said, I really like the late 80s Deco revival style. It's just one of the best. And there's newer printings of this. I wanted the vintage from the 80s because I really like these backs. But there's, I think, at least 3 different printings of this. So you can find a current edition of it. But it's a great deck. The Elemental Tarot by Caroline Smith. Love it so much. Of course, I was working with my Thoth. I believe this AGM edition is the one that I was using. I haven't actually pulled out my Thoth in a minute. Thoth, whatever you want to call it. But this is a beautiful, beautiful printing, where the aim was to restore it to its original state, the way that you would have seen this in person had you gone to Lady Frida Harris's exhibit. That's the story behind it. I've just fallen in love with just about every single different printing of this deck, and I really love these backs. And I guess this is how to print, I think. I was able to get this from a seller in Germany, and I didn't spend too much on it. I want to say it maybe with shipping cost me $40, which is not bad. I think it's easier to find the smaller edition of this, but hopefully this will be more available again. It's AGM. It should be. I don't know. But it's great. I worked with the Gods of Illuminati, which was a deck from Diane. And it was a deck I didn't know I needed. And I've talked about this, so I won't dwell on this too much. I hope the lighting has been okay. I know I've got this weirdness Can I get rid of that? Like, how do I get rid of that? Is that better? Maybe that's better. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it draws from cultures from all over the world, all different gods. And the guidebook is really quirky and fun. So yeah, I worked with that. What else do I have? The Mountain Dream was a deck that I used a ton, especially in August. I love this deck. Thank you, Meg. What a beautiful, beautiful gift. It means so much to me. Love this moon card. Check that out. This was, I think, known as the first photography deck. It's from the 70s, and you can totally tell, which I love. It has a very intimate quality for me. And I don't want to say that it's a gentle deck. It just gives me the truth, but in a way that I can really handle and process. And the readings that I get from this really stick with me throughout the day. Or maybe they affect my day. I don't know, but always in the best way. I love this deck so much. And I love her menstruation deck as well, which I also received as a gift. Oh, it's so great. It's a tried and true classic for a reason. For a good reason. All right, what else do we have? So I didn't bring out like all the decks that I used this summer, but the ones that I used most frequently. I'll show you the Haunted House. I didn't use this too many times. I used it maybe a few, but I think it's really cute. I like the backs. And this is more of a current Los Scarabeo printing, but the cardstock is not bad. It's not like the cardstock that I was just complaining about in the Primordial. But yeah, I find this really fun. It's got like this kind of like comic book style that you find a lot in Los Scarabeo. And it's a deck that definitely tells a story. What's funny is that I paired this with the Sistine, and somehow it paired really, really well. I think I was just lucky in that the cards I drew just happened to vibe with the other deck really well. But yeah, it was fun. So I'm looking forward to working with this more. Maybe it will be, maybe it'll be like a Gothlit November deck. We'll see. That's coming up in November. And I have to plan out what I'm going to read, which I already have ideas. Some of them carryovers from last year, and I'm trying not to add too much more to the list. Thea's Tarot. This has been amazing. This has been amazing. This has been more like of a late summer acquisition. Love the cardstock. Very durable, plasticky, a little slippy, but I don't mind it. Love the backs. I love this this sort of like woodcut style. I don't know if I'm doing a very good job showing the cards. I didn't get the book that's available on the website because at the time I had to fulfill obligations I felt in backing decks that I was going to miss out on pre-orders. There was a handful of those all at once. And my summer was very spendy. Oh, I love this. I love how some of these cards are like, I love this 9 of discs. The kitty cat and the couch and the book. I didn't get the book. It's not necessary. It wasn't really originally written as a guidebook. Maybe at some point I'll get it. But I have so many other guidebooks I have to read. There's a few cards in here with keywords for all the cards in the deck, and I find it handy and I like it. Let's see. The Sistine. So I'm sure most of you have seen this. It's beautiful. Backs. It is beautiful. I almost missed out on this. I almost missed out because I knew it was coming, and then I got so tied up and so busy I very nearly missed the cutoff. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have no idea why this paired. I love that. King of Wands with a cigarette. What? I love it. This is just one of the most beautiful collage decks. Yeah. I've gotten some really great messages from this. A definite favorite. I'm so glad that I woke up and didn't miss out. Okay. The Craft Decadence. Like I said, this deck is just amazing. Like, look at this. Here's Crowley. Contradiction Prodigy. Growth through Paradox. There's some William Blake there, I think. Exact Science. Precision and Accuracy. Double Check. Obsessive Engineering. Tesla. Look at this. Ancestral Watch. Guardian Spirits. Familial Protection. Oh, this deck is amazing. I love it. I love it's like so itty bitty, but it's not one of those collage decks that are so tiny that you can... Sorry, my phone was out of space. Anyway, I was saying that it's tiny, but it's not one of those collage decks that are so small that you can't enjoy the beauty of the art, which I feel that way about the Our Tarot, which is a deck that I got for my daughter that I really wanted for myself, but honestly, I don't feel the size of that deck really does the beauty of those collages justice. She just did an amazing job on that deck. I think it's one of the best. Another deck that I worked with a lot this summer was Graven Images, which was another gift, which, oh my God, just means so much to me. This is one of my favorites. You guys know how much I love this stuff. And it's a really special deck. I'm going to have to go a little bit more quickly. I'm nervous about my storage, which I just purchased more storage. I don't know what's going on. I feel like with everything going on, I haven't been cleaning things up. So I worked with the Mermaid Tarot. I'll just show this very briefly. I feel like I showed this not too long ago. What a fun deck and an obvious summer favorite. So much fun. I think I heard that Dame Darcy is coming out with a new edition of this. I don't know, maybe just the box has changed. But if there are any other changes, then I would be interested. I would be interested in getting it. I think this is a great deck. So much fun. Let's see. The Alchemy of Thoth. This was another one that I pre-ordered and was really excited for. I love her Daydreaming Institute. I really wanted to get the, here's the guidebook. I really wanted to get the Oracle deck that she made available alongside this, but I just couldn't. I was completely maxed out between this and the Sistine and a couple other things. It was just too much, but I really hope at some point that becomes available. It's a beautiful Thoth collage. And I love it. I love the size and everything. It's different cardstock than Daydreaming in C2. I love the backs. And yeah, I've only worked with this like a couple of times. I haven't had this too much, and honestly, when it arrived, I was going through so much strife. I flipped through it. I was really excited, but I couldn't give it my full attention. But anyway, I love her other deck so much that I have a backup of that. I have a backup because I was worried about wearing it out. So there's that. The Primordial, I will show you this. Will I bring out the other one? Or I don't know, because I don't know about the time, but here's the backs. I love what they did in the new edition with the backs. I think these are great. This is just an amazing deck. You sort of need the guidebook. The guidebook is actually pretty nice for a Lo Scarabeo guidebook. It really explains things. Yeah, it's written by Barbara Moore. But it doesn't really, it doesn't really hold fully to, you know, your traditional tarot meanings. It's really deep, man. I really, really dig it. I think this is incredible. I've been intrigued with this for a long time. So yeah, these are wands. Like usually you see green and you think maybe like, you know, pentacles or discs, but these are wands if I'm not mistaken. These are pentacles and the red is, that's your swords. It's incredible. Look at this. It's just incredible artwork. And yeah, I'm not going to show you this that I got because it's basically this deck, but it's with the white borders and maybe the coloring's a little bit different. Cardstock is better, but I haven't really actually used it this summer, and that's not what this is about. This arrived not too long ago, so beautiful. What else? The Scarab and Dahlia, gorgeous, gorgeous collage deck. And this has huge. It's a huge deck. It's got this silver gilding on it, which is really pretty. I think there's more than one death card in here. Look at that strength card with the bear. And there's more than one lovers card. It's so beautiful. I think this is still available. Look at these cave paintings. I love it. Yeah, there's another lovers card. Oh, look at that Ace of Swords. Amazing. Okay. And maybe there's just one more to show you. And it's the Dolly Tarot. Love this one so much. Sort of want to get a vintage printing. I don't know if I will get around to that or not, but I have 2 copies of this. Which is kind of silly because if you've seen this deck, I'm just showing you the little gold box, but the current printing of it by Taschen is this gigantic ass purple velvet box, and it's gorgeous, and the book is huge. But now, yeah, because I have a backup, I have 2 giant boxes, and if I ever knew anybody that needed the book, I would give it to them. But actually, yeah, like, let me know, I guess. This deck is amazing. This is just one of the most incredible collage decks. Look at that death card. Look at that. Napoleon. His signature is on every card. Yeah, I think I was talking about this in an earlier video, and I was aware of this deck for the longest time, and I've always loved Dali. And I just thought this was another one of those like Lo Scarabeo art decks where they're using paintings like, you know, reconstituted or whatever it's called. Nothing wrong with that. I have decks like that. It was an oversight on my behalf. I never really paid attention to the fact that no, Dali actually made a tarot deck, and here it is. No, that's amazing. I have to go back to the exhibit. Yeah, I think most of those paintings were from the Dali Museum in St. Petersburg, Florida. Just incredible. So I think that'll about do it. I hope in the coming days, I hope to be able to get around to some other videos. The music video is still coming. I know I've been tagged in some things. I got a couple of notifications via email, and I promise, like, I will get around to them. It's been an absolute whirlwind lately of emotions, and I've had no headspace, but I am slowly catching up with videos and catching up with people and things that I've missed. But what can you do? Like, it is what it is. But yeah, if you haven't heard from me, or if you've sent me any messages or comments or whatever, I haven't responded, I'm not ignoring you. It's just been a lot. But anyway, that's my summer wrap up and the decks I used finally. And yeah, that'll about do it. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.